Hawaiian Islands, the Orient, contact time for everyone, 26.5.
And Chalk 6 is taking fire. Okay, divert south of the river. Divert. I see you come to the red tracer. I just called him. You said stay well.
Since the dawn of the first age, by the elders it was foretold, a mighty cure that would rise when needed most. Their words would inspire enlightenment among the common. As it was prophesied, it has come to pass. Everybody has a podcast.
Well, you know, I got something kind of deep, and I was thinking about it the other day, and, you know, just life in general. You know, sometimes I'll ponder, you know, when I'm on the toilet or whatever. And have you guys heard of a thing called simulation theory?
Yeah, yes. I mean, are you prepared for this podcast to be 3 hours long?
I mean, I'm fairly certain we can just hit the key points and have some talking points, and I'll keep it brief. And
what makes you believe that about us? Like, we never do that.
I'm more interested in kind of your ideas on it, you know. But for the listeners who don't know what simulation theory is, I strongly urge you to look it up. It's kind of like basically loosely based on the Matrix movie, but this is a theory way older than the Matrix movie. But basically, the theory is that humanity is way older than we think it is, and we have progressed so much via Moore's law in computing that there's actually quantum computers running a simulation. And every one of us, all of our experiences, everything that we think is reality is actually just a simulation on some massive quantum computer. Maybe thousands of them running somewhere in the near future, and everything we see, taste, feel, hear is all synthetic.
So you're saying we are living in the Matrix according to this theory in one form or fashion?
But we're not real people. We are literally just programming.
Right.
Yeah, and not necessarily. I wouldn't say Matrix. I mean, I don't think like the machines are trying to harvest it to make us AA batteries. But it's just. I mean, I don't necessarily believe in it or not believe in it. But it's for me. I was thinking about it because our brains take our reality via our five senses. That's how we distinguish. Our consciousness distinguishes reality. Like we know a beer is cold because we touch it and we taste it. But if something was synthetically sending those impulses to our brain, we could be in some kind of weird, induced coma, we would still think like a dream. We would still think it was real. So when you start looking at those, those kind of possibilities, it blows your mind. If you think about it, I mean, we could all be on a ship traveling to another world because we shed on Earth and Earth is not habitable anymore, and all of our lives right now are just basically a simulation. Like our real selves could be in like a cryo chamber, or we could get some fucking punk kid in the future could just be playing a Sims game and we're their characters.
Yeah, we could be a science project right now.
I mean, sometimes I'll look at my neighbor, right, and they're nice people, family and stuff, but I don't know him at all. I mean, I think he's real.
You think I'm real?
I think you're real. You think I'm real. But what are your thoughts on this theory?
I think that, well, I know after Wikipediaing this theory a long time ago, mathematically speaking, as in probability or chance that this theory is correct, is like almost infinitely more possible than it actually being current time, current space. I can't remember how they quantified it, but literally it mathematically the probability is higher that we are a simulation than that we are in fact real.
Well, I could just shooting from the hip, I could say I could see that, sure, statistics wise, but that means that at least one time the real scenario played out right, because something has to be simulating us.
Well, it can only play out one time.
Well, like a video game developer creates fantasy worlds and realms and things, and I guess there is some kind of basis in interaction. The scenarios have something; they're based on something, but it could be based solely upon imagination.
So check this out. Here would be my scenario. The human race gets to a point to where there are no problems. But what have we discussed? We've touched on this in the podcast in the past. Idle hands. Mankind is not really meant for that. So we are a simulation purely because there are zero problems, nothing to do. We're bored, so we create a simulated world that has real problems. Like we're going back. It'd be similar to us. Like how we've talked on this podcast about how like men aren't made to sit in cubicles. For 8 hours a day, we're meant to get out there and fucking work and sweat. It'd be the same thing as us putting ourselves in a simulation to like 1810, to where we just had to fucking chop lumber all day and build a cabin. It'd be the same thing, but to another level.
Well, it's why we fight dragons in a video game or shoot Russians or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, what if the future is so politically correct and just boring that the only adventure of life is to go back and live it like it was 200 years ago when there were real life stresses and disease and
Somebody wants their wife to cheat on them and have a student loan garnishment.
I mean, but if you think about us as humans, right? As farther as we progress in technology, we're living longer. We're developing new emerging technologies that aren't all great for the environment. And I'm not going to sit here and beat the desk on a global warming thing because I don't want to do that. But let's just say that some of the things we do isn't good for the environment. Aren't we the only species on this planet that, as we continue to evolve and progress, like the fact that we live longer is overpopulating and we're using more resources and our use of fossil fuels and all this stuff, isn't that weird that you don't see like a beaver decide to build a dam a new way and it fucking hurts the ecosystem. I mean, I guess you do. I guess we just don't look at it in that microcosm. Well, and I think the simulation theory is interesting to look at from a couple standpoints. For me, it kind of explains deja vu, because it may be experience that we've gone through or seen before, and we kind of get that realization like we've gone through the simulation before. Because it also supports the reincarnation theory. Like maybe we respond as different people. Also, our DNA is basically code. If you look at the human DNA, it's just basically a way to store a massive amounts of information, almost like a program. It's interesting stuff. Clark, you have anything else to add?
Well, no. In different types of matter, they have actually found identifiers that they believe could be code. It's very like the molecular level of they studied some molecular level of leaf, and they basically found what they could decipher as potential computer code.
Yeah, I read about that. What they found was a checksum. So basically, it's like at the end of code, it throws out a random number that has to match, and they've identified that in nature. So there's no problems. It would basically be a way to put it would be there's no cancer in this reality. Have you guys have you had any experiences that you could lend to the simulation theory in your life? Any weird deja vus or anything of that nature?
I think everyone has deja vu. I guess people probably like dreams. They probably remember it more than often. But we talked about dreams before. But I think that the fact that I have a recurring dream where I fly all the time is a weird indicator. Because it
could just be that you're secretly gay.
It could be. It could be because there is a scantily clad Superman flying in front of me. That can't quite
only you and Lance Bass want to go to the moon.
Okay, Ryan, yes or no, do you believe in the simulation theory?
I could see it as a possibility, and let me throw this out there. Alien abductions. How is an alien supposed to be able to just abduct you? No one else in your house saw it, but people claim it. What if they're the ones putting us in a simulation, and an abduction is them just pulling us out of the simulation for an hour or two at a time?
Like a software patch. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you again. Do you believe that the simulation theory is correct or not?
Well, I'm not going to say yes or no. I think it's
well.
Really
I need you to from my follow-up question.
Okay, sure. No.
Okay, never mind.
All right. Hold on.
Radio.
Let's go back.
I was going to ask.
I'll edit that. Clark, I do believe in simulation theory. I think it is entirely possible.
Okay, how do you reconcile the simulation theory with your demon visit that you supposedly had?
Well, that would be. Have I talked about that on this podcast before? The demon talking to me.
Yeah, twice, I think.
Okay, so I've had a demon that talked to me 2 nights in a row, and that's by far the most religious / paranormal / whatever you want to call it that has happened. And yeah, I would definitely associate something that you would classify as out there. Sure, yeah, I mean that's something goofy going on in the system, right? Joe Rogan talks a lot about think of the JFK assassination and all the little intricacies, and it plays out like a fucking movie. What happened when you look at all the facts and everything, and he says that totally lends itself to simulation theory. It's like we're setting up a play for ourselves. What are the odds that a set of events happen in that order, and it's so dramatic, and it really is a fantastic fucking story. It's just like a storyline in a fucking game, right? Pretty neat stuff.
It is, and I think, too, this kind of goes back to the Matrix more, I guess, would be if you think of the reality to where we might just all be, a program. Each one of us may be a certain program or part of a program, but there are those who either are designed differently or figure it out that can excel more in life. You think about the people that have just been super successful that, you feel like that they just have figured out something nobody else on this planet has. And the simulation theory would lend that, what if they figured out, a hole in the code or, and they may not even be cognizant of it, So it's an interesting theory. I know it's pretty deep because it questions a lot of things, questions religion, it questions kind of like our existence on this planet. It questions Philip Seymour Hoffman's untimely death. I feel like, he probably just got tired of playing supporting actor roles and just wanted to play the heroine. That was my bad joke to end it.
I got it.
That was a good one. I liked it.
We should we should find an author on simulation theory that we like and have them on the show. And we could spend, an hour or two and get fucking deep into it. I mean, what do you guys think?
I'm going to get so drunk.
No, I agree because, we just kind of skim the top for the sake of, not talking about it for 3 hours,
Right.
I would love to just devote an entire segment to where we just kind of broke down into it and have somebody that really understands all the intricacies of it and kind of explain it to us.
Yeah, if any of our listeners know an author on the subject, let us give us a shout. We'd love to see if we can get them on the show, and let's get fucking weird with this shit.
Part of what you never had is gone and can't be taken back.